We've got another big show right here on NSCAA TV, and today's NSCAA Highlights and Ranking Show is presented by the National Soccer Coaches Association of America, the world's largest soccer coaches organization dedicated to providing the best in soccer coaching education and membership services and benefits. To learn more, visit nscaa.com. Hit the lights. Today's show starts right now.
All right, we kick off this week's NSCAA Highlights and Ranking Show here in Baltimore, Maryland. The Baltimore Derby between the UMBC Retrievers, Loyola Greyhounds, and UMBC coming up with a 3-1 win over the Greyhounds. But you look back at this match, Keith, for a Loyola team that was missing a couple of key players. Of course, it was their keeper, Thurman Van Riper, not able to play because of injury. Larry Enjock out because of red card. But they were very competitive, especially in that first half.
Well, they were. You look at the first half. I mean, it was all Loyola in the first half. In fact, the biggest stat, 6 corner kicks for Loyola. They had chance after chance on corner, feeling very good going into halftime. Just a few minutes into the second half, UMBC gets the first goal. Gaetan Caltabiano gets it from the assist from Kadeem Dakers. Just 7 minutes later, Pete Garingi III, the leading goal scorer in the nation, number 9 of the year. He scores that off Spencer Williams' first assist of the year. So it's 2-0. They're in control, but in the 62nd minute, there's a penalty kick for Loyola. Stephen Dooley, his second goal of the year. Now we have a game, 2-1, and it's going back and forth for a while, but in the 84th minute, UMBC puts it away. Dakers, I said you'd hear his name again, scored his third goal of the year, third goal of the game for UMBC. They win the Battle of Baltimore.
Well, indeed. You look at these two schools, 5-1-1 now for the Greyhounds, 7-0 on the season for UMBC. You're going to be hearing from them throughout the season. We'll send it back now to the Continental Tire NSCAA studios in Chapel Hill with Dean Linke and Charlie Slagle. Guys.
All right, thank you, Dave and Keith. I am Dean Linke. He is Charlie Slagle. Delighted to be with you for what is going to be another great show. As we'll start with the men, of course. We'll take a look at the big matchup coming up Friday on NSCAA TV between UCSB and Stanford. Should be a sellout crowd. We'll take a look at the resurgent St. Louis men's soccer team, and we'll go Division II with Rollins. A little later on, Sari Rose, the former goalkeeper, will break down the women's side of it, as we'll take a look at Morgan Bryan, one of the best players in the country for the #1 team in the country, Virginia. We'll also visit with Johns Hopkins women's soccer team. They're having a fantastic season. That and so much more. But to get things started, Charlie Slagle, Division I, it is heating up. North Carolina is still #1, but boy, it's been fantastic.
#1 team after 6 games is 3-0-3. Last week, the top 14, only 2 didn't have a loss or a tie. It is amazing the parity in Division I men's soccer.
All right, let's take a look here now at the NSCAA Continental Tire Top 10, and there is North Carolina #1, followed by California and Creighton.
Let's talk a little bit about Cal. They had 2 victories last week at home, Colgate 3-0 and College of Charleston 3-1. Against Colgate, Alex Sundley had a goal along with Stephen Birnbaum and Stefano Bonamo. And then against Charleston, Bonamo and Birnbaum scored again, and also Omid Jalali. And that team is playing very, very well. This week they play against Santa Clara. Then Creighton, 400th career victory for the Creighton Blue Jays, and it came in exciting fashion. Fabian Herbers in the 109th minute in overtime gets the goal. Alex Bulovich, the coach's son, Elmar Bulovich's son, in goal for the shutout. And then Northwestern has moved up the ladder. Tim Lenahan, 13th year, winning as coach there. They won 3-0 against St. Mary's and then 2-1 against FDU. Penalty kick by Chris Ritter, who's a redshirt senior from Winnetka, Illinois, in the 67th minute. Tyler Miller was in goal. He's a junior from Woodbury, New Jersey. They're at Michigan. They're led by goal-a-game scorer Joey Calistri.
All right, as you look at #10 right there, Akron, believe it or not, we will head to Akron tonight to see Akron and the Ohio State Buckeyes as part of a college soccer special men's game of the week. Jared Embick, Akron Zips, John Bloom's Ohio State Buckeyes. And then on Friday night, we'll jet out to California, what could be a record crowd. Both of these places have great fans. UC Santa Barbara and Stanford. For a bigger look at that game, we give you Larissa White.
This Friday night, more than 10,000 fans are expected to fill the stands here around me at Harder Stadium to witness a showdown between the UCSB and Stanford men's soccer programs. It's the last full week of September on the UC Santa Barbara campus, and that only means one thing for the Gaucho men's soccer program: fans. Back on September 24th, 2010, nearly 16,000 fans packed Harder Stadium for a matchup between UCLA and UCSB. The Gauchos are in line once again with back-to-school weekend. They expect not only a big game, but also an electric atmosphere.
Obviously, that's a huge advantage, playing in front of all those fans. We've got a great crowd and a great following here at UCSB, and it's definitely a good thing. You know, it's going to, hopefully it'll intimidate them a little bit, and it'll definitely play in our hands. We just need to do the work on the field and make the fans happy.
Stanford was 4 minutes shy of defeating a number 2 ranked Maryland team, but ended up with a 3-3 draw. UCSB opened up with a 3-0 win at 19th ranked Northwestern and narrowly fell 1-0 at UCLA despite outshooting the Bruins. Santa Barbara has relied on a blend of experience and youth.
We have a senior defensive line. We've got a lot of young freshmen that are coming in and playing a big role so far this season. And we've got some experience up top with Achille Campion and Goffin.
Meanwhile, Stanford boasts a new head coach in Jeremy Gunn. Coach has also brought along with him a new culture that's ready to succeed.
They're going to bring in a much improved team from last year, a team that I think, again, has already gotten a couple of very good results this year. So we think they're very good, and I think the level of play on the field will be very, very high.
It's going to be a difficult game, obviously. They're a really good team. They've came on a lot over the years since they got their new coach, who's an English coach, so they play that way. They're a traditional style of play, and they've got some really good players.
Last season, both teams met up at Harder Stadium, and after 2 overtime periods, Stanford took home a 1-0 win.
This year, it's a good experience for us because we already know what we're going to expect, and we are very fired up. And coming down the loss last year, we're actually very motivated to go get our revenge on them this year.
I think that if we match our energy with theirs, we'll be able to play to our strengths and ultimately get a win.
And we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a big night for us. Obviously, all the students are going to be out there, and we're just looking to impress.
Having Stanford here, of course, is a big name, and they've been doing very well this year. And so we're excited about the fact they're here. It's a big name, it's a great game, students are here, and we hope that it's a fun night for everybody.
No matter the outcome this Friday night, it's sure to be an exciting match here in Santa Barbara. For NSCAA.com, I'm Larissa White.
All right, thank you, Larissa. As we roll on here with the men Division I rankings, UMBC, we started the show with their big win over Loyola, and they're number 11.
Yes, and I'm going to highlight Louisville. Coach Ken Lola in his 8th year, former Herman Trophy winner at Duke. 3-0 victory against Central Florida. Jimmy Ockford, senior from Yardley, Pennsylvania. Ricardo Velasquez, sophomore from Casa Grande, Arizona. And Marlon Hairston, a sophomore from Jackson, Mississippi, had the goals in that one. Joachim Bell, who's a junior from Dutenberg, Germany, was in goal. They play SIU, Edwardsville, and Temple this week at home. And then one of the 2 undefeated teams in the country, along with UMBC, Dayton, 7-0-0. Haven't really played that tough a schedule. The teams they've played outside of the games against themselves, 9-24-13. Dennis Courier's team has beaten everybody that's on their schedule, though. 19 goals for, 4 goals against. Abe Keller with 4 goals and 5 assists, and Brian Richard with 4 goals and no assists. And the goalkeeper is Chris Froschhauer with a .57 goals against average.
And your final 5 here on Division I.
And let's go with Butler. The only loss was at Northwestern, and they just beat Brown 3-0. They have IU this week. Paul Snap in his 3rd year after taking over from Kelly Finley, coming over from Michigan.
And St. Louis is at number 21. St. Louis, one of the most storied programs in the history of NCAA Division I men's soccer. They are on the rise. Yes, they lost to UConn number 22 last Friday, but it's a program to be reckoned with, and we called up with their program, including their head coach Mike McGinty, who talked about their resurgence.
Yeah, I think we've done pretty well. We started figuring out some players, some combinations, some roles for guys, and as we go forward in the season, we've got a good group of guys that we know we can count on in different capacities. So I think we're right where we need to be with some really important games coming up. Yeah, I think it was a really good year for us. Overall, the body of work was really good. We played some good soccer. We beat some good teams. We got a trophy, and you know, we always want to be challenging for championships, and so getting a trophy is important. I think we let ourselves down a little bit in the NCAA playoffs, and understandably so with a young group. I think that lesson was learned last year, and in the spring, our foreign tour and our summer program, the energy and the intensity was largely because of how we finished last year, and so I think that everybody's chomping at the bit to go back into the playoffs.
It's always in the back of your head, as much as you don't want it to be or you're not supposed to, really. But I mean, at one point in the season, Creighton was 1, UConn I think was 3. So I mean, it's tough to ignore that, and you know, it kind of gets you very excited. But you know, it's still at the same time, you have to take it one game at a time.
Yeah, I think it's exciting as a player. It's exciting for our staff. You know, UConn obviously is a big name. It's a traditional powerhouse. It's good to go up there and play them, and it's something that, as a player, you get excited about. After that, we've got homecoming, we've got Creighton, we've got VCU. So this is a really important part of the year for us to get some important results that long term will help us, you know, down the road. His leadership is largely by example. We have a lot of really talented young guys that going into big games or tough environments can look to Alex, and he can calm them down when he needs to. He can get after them when he needs to, and I think he's really evolved and kind of is a good leader by how his demeanor and his actions on the field.
Every time I come out on the field wearing that armband, you know, it's a special thing for me. You know, it's great to see that the coaches put trust in me. They think me as a person that can lead them on and off the field. A national championship is on our goals, but it's at the very top. We have so many other goals that will lead up to that. I mean, we have, 15 shutouts, 50 plus goals for. There's steps along the way that if you get every single one of those small goals, it'll eventually lead to a national championship.
St. Louis with a big game coming up against number 3 Creighton. And how about the NSCAA Disney Soccer Player of the Week? It's a goalkeeper, Alex Bono from Syracuse. He made 9 saves, including the 100th of his career for the Orange, as the squad went 2-0 on the week. He had 5 saves in the 1-0 shutout of number 12 Connecticut, his 13th shutout of his career. Congratulations to Alex Bono, a goalkeeper from Syracuse. And of course, this show is presented by Continental Tire, the presenting sponsor of the NSCAA Highlights and Rankings show right here on NSCAA TV. Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. Find out more at continentaltire.com.
Hey, Missy. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. I just don't want you boys to be late for your big game. Okay, have fun. I'll be right here after the game.
Continental Tire, the official tire of Major League Soccer.
Tra-la-la, tra-la, tra-la. Pleasure.
Welcome back to the Continental Tire Studios here as part of the NSCAA Highlights and Rankings show. Dean Linke, delighted to be with you as we've already broken down Division I men. Time now to talk Division II, but before we do, let's take a look at the Disney Soccer NCAA Division II Player of the Week this week. A big week from none other than Mark McGee at Rockers. He posted 6 points on 2 goals and 2 assists in 2 conference games last week. He contributed on all 4 goals scored by the Hawks last week by scoring a goal in both games and assisting on 2 others. Division II Men Disney Soccer Player of the Week is Mark McGee. Now we bring back Charlie Slagle as we break down Division II Men. And when you take a look at Division II Men, Charlie Slagle, who pops up there, Division II Men?
I'm going to highlight 2 teams that were not in the top 10 last week. First, the Bearcats of Lander from South Carolina had a tie against Erskine as their only blemish on their record. A score that's not on there from last week, from yesterday. Georgia Southwestern 6-0. 22 goals for, none against. They have the French Connection, Clement Daucher and Kevin Durand. Now that's not the movie with Gene Hackman or the Buffalo Sabres with Robert and Martin and Perreault, but this is the French Connection. Both have 5 goals. Goalkeeper Barrett Nielsen, sophomore from Ottawa, Canada, has not allowed a goal all year. That's the Bearcats, coached by Van Taylor. He's only been there 29 years. And then you've got Lindenwood out of St. Charles, Missouri. Their close games this year have been against Quincy, 3-2, and Southwestern Baptist. Against that Southwestern Baptist, Haraj Bagarik scored the goal. Axel Duarte had the clincher in that. Coach Carl Hutter, in his 20th year, has 282 wins.
Meanwhile, down in Winter Park, Florida, their head coach Keith Buckley has Rollins at number 3, and we went down to Winter Park to take a closer look at Rollins.
It's been an incredible run for us in the last 4 years. We've been number 1 in the region each year. We obviously went to the final 2 of the championship back in 2010. Last year we made it to the final 16 and lost the eventual national champions. So it's been a really good 4 years, and Alex and Keneal have been a strong part of that. And we'd be sad to see them go, but they're leaving a great legacy here.
Talk about the team's fast start this year.
Yeah, it's a start that we didn't expect. Last night was excellent. The second half performance was very good. We kept a clean sheet, but it's now we have 6 games in 15 days, so we've got to be ready.
And a lot of respect in the national poll in the Sunshine State Conference with Rollins, Lynn, and Tampa. You talk a little bit about the strength of the conference.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Lynn have won a national championship 2 years. I think they've won twice. They've won it last year and then was finalists the year before. Tampa have won it twice. A lot of history in the programs. Always, each year they produce good teams. So it's a very tough conference.
Keneal, the all-time shutout leader. What's that like for you, since you were a veteran here, a player and a coach, and then for Joe as well?
Well, actually, there's a lot of people that can take credit for Keneal. Paul Nagy recruited Keneal when no one else thought he could play, and Paul had a lot of faith in him. And then when he got here, Joey obviously took over the reins, and Keneal has been a stalwart of the program. Very, very good goalkeeper. He's got better each year, and fully deserves all the accomplishments he's achieved.
It's been a great 4 years. I was fortunate to play all 4 years, but things have changed with the teams. But the same thing that remains with all 4 years is just the brotherhood we have within the team. Like, we're a very close-knit group, which I think has helped me and helped everyone who's come into this program.
Last night you became the all-time shutout leader. What's that mean to A, get that record, and B, surpass your coach?
I think the best part about it is that I got to surpass my current coach, which I think is great because he's helped me along the way. He may not like me anymore, no, but I think it's good that I was able to do it. I mean, this group are all into it. Could have had more maybe at this point, but I'm just glad to have achieved what I've achieved.
You know, attending Rollins has always been a dream for me, and going to the national championship my freshman year was unreal. The players were first class, so being able to play with them and see how they made it was a real big influence on how I've grown as a player. I'm trying to bring that to the team now with the experience me and Keneal have. And I think this team that we have this year is better than that team. So it's showing right now with our unbeaten record, and I believe that if we keep up what we're doing and stay positive, it's going to end up good for us.
Reporting from Winter Park, Florida for the TAR Sports Network and for NSCAA TV, I'm Nate Wyant.
Enjoyed that from Winter Park. Let's roll on now to the NCAA Men's Division III rankings, Charlie.
Yeah, I'm going to highlight once again 2 teams that were not in the top 10 last week and are in the top 10 this week. At number 7, College of Brockport, Coach Gary LaPietra is in his 18th year, has 179 wins. They have 2 ties, one against Medale and one against St. Lawrence. Peter DiLorenzo, 6 goals and an assist for 13 points. He's a sophomore from Hicksville, New York. And then we're going to number 9, DePaul. They had a huge conference opening win in the North Coast Athletic Conference, a 2-1 overtime victory Saturday, and goal was by Alu Musa from Nick Williams, the assist. Musa is a sophomore from Greenwood, Indiana. They have 2 guys with 6 goals so far this year, Andy Morrison, who's a junior from Bristol, Indiana, and Julian Gonzalez, who's a freshman from Indy. And we have Brad Howder, who's the coach. He graduated in 1987. He took over for Paige Cotton, who coached there for 39 years. If you get a chance, go on their website and read about his interesting story. That is Brad Howder.
All right, of course, your Division III Player of the Week, Trevor Sotel from Gwinnett Mercy, went for 4 goals and a pair of assists in a 3-0 week for Gwinnett Mercy. Congratulations to Trevor Sotel, your Division III Disney Soccer Player of the Week. And we roll on here as we bring you the Junior College Men's Division I rankings, and there's Tyler Junior College. We talked to Coach Clemens last week. They're still number 1.
And keeping with what I've been doing all day is teams that have not been in the top 10 that are now moving. Here's one, Dean. Eastern Florida State College, inaugural season. Coach Oliver 12 Trees is up there at number 8. Last game was a 4-2 win over Andrews. Kevin McFarland, Romario Grant, Jonathan Quintero, and Jordan Muir had the goals. And then also at number 10, moving up from number 13, Spartanburg Methodist, the Pioneers. Rich Weber in his 3rd season. They had a 3-0 victory over Cape Fear. Lost earlier in the year, and their only loss to Georgia Perimeter. Steven Gonzalez, 10 goals and 2 assists. And then Juan Villa, 3 goals and 9 assists for the Pioneers of Spartanburg Methodist.
All right, Junior College Men's Division III rankings. There's Herkimer County Community College still at number 1.
Yes, and then we go to another team that was 11 last week, Modesto Junior College. They are now 9, and they have played a great season this year, led by Steve Aristolins and Sebastian Gutierrez. They have played undefeated season so far, 6-0-0. And then Manor College from Pennsylvania. They have 34 goals for and only 2 against. They're out of Jenkintown, Pennsylvania. John Dempster's the coach. Mark Colville, 8 goals and 11 assists for 27 points already. Bill Jarwe, 4 goals and 5 assists. And Demolaire Adelaide is only allowing .13 goals against in goal.
All right, in NAIA, Concordia out of California bested Embry-Riddle from Arizona 2-1 in Turbo's National Men's Soccer Game of the Week, presented by NSCAA and Admiral Soccer.
And perennial contenders, number 4, Lindsey Wilson of Kentucky, and number 5, Rio Grande of Ohio, battled to a 1-1 tie in Mid-South Conference play Saturday. The teams have combined to win every Mid-South Conference regular season and tournament title since Rio Grande joined the conference in 2009.
And unranked Olivet Nazarene handed number 7 Grandview from Iowa its first loss of the season on Saturday. Patty Hepp delivered the game winner for Nazarene. In the 83rd minute, the Tigers midfielder found the back of the net after Aaron Chatfield cross was flicked his way by Miguel Fierro. And of course, the NAIA is the leader in character-driven intercollegiate athletics. The 5 core values of integrity, respect, responsibility, sportsmanship, and servant leadership are put into play and accounted for NAIA schools. For more information, go to www.championsofcharacter.org. So, men's college soccer now in the books. Charlie Slagle, your thoughts on another big week for men's college soccer?
Parity all across the board. There's a lot of great teams out there that are playing each other, and you look at Division I, and it's just amazing the difference. New teams are in there. They're moving all over the place. You have Maryland in the top 10 again, and they're 2-2-2. You have the number 1 team in the country, UNC, is at 3-0-3.
All right, I know you'll be watching tonight for Akron and Ohio State right here on NSCAA TV. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll welcome in Sari Rose, the former goalkeeper at Wake Forest, to break down women's college soccer across the board. More right here from the Continental Tire Studios on NSCAA TV.
we're adding a second distribution center. So instead of moving it, we're putting every floor in every store on sale at Lumber Liquidators' first ever warehouse clearance sale. Get 20% off all laminate flooring, pre-finished solid hardwood up to 55% less than big box stores. All bamboo is on sale from $139 a square foot with new deals added daily. Plus, get 16 months special financing. Warehouse clearance sale is going on now. Get to your local Lumber Liquidators today.
Each year, the NSCAA puts over 7,000 coaches through our coaching education program. Youth, high school, and college coaches at all levels participate in the diploma courses. Join your peers and get educated. Better coaching, better players, better game. NSCAA Coaching Academy. Improving soccer, one coach at a time. Register today at nscaa.com/education.
The University of Virginia women are the #1 team in the country, behind perhaps the #1 player in the country. Morgan Bryan's 6 goals and 8 assists has been outstanding. Remember, she was such a key player as well for that U.S. under-20 team that won the World Cup a year ago. She is the former 2011 Gatorade National Female Player of the Year for all sports, went on to be the National Freshman of the Year last year, came over late to join Steve Swanson's Virginia Cavaliers. Now remember, Steve Swanson was also the coach of that U.S. under-20 team. Morgan Bryan has been incredible. He's got a great shot, unbelievable passer as well. And Morgan Bryan, the story early on in the college soccer season. And Steve Kirkland, the SID for Virginia women, caught up with the talented superstar, #6, Morgan Bryan.
For NSCAA TV, I'm Steve Kirkland, joined today by Virginia Junior and U.S. Women's National Team midfielder Morgan Bryan. Morgan, your Cavalier team is off to a great start this season, undefeated and up to #1 in the polls. What's been the key to success this season?
The key to our success this season has been a lot of things. I think our team is gelling at the right moment right now, and I think we did a couple things over the summer that helped us. We went to England in May, and so I think that helped us a lot, and then we came back in June, at the end of June, to get together and play every day as a team, and I think right now we're just playing some good soccer, and hopefully we can keep doing that.
Up to #1 in the polls, some place that Virginia has not been in 23 years. What does that mean to you and your teammates to do something that it's been so long for your school to accomplish?
It's still early in the season, and I think being #1 in all the polls is always great for the media and all that kind of stuff, but at this moment in time, I think what's best for us is just to focus on getting better each game, and hopefully we can keep doing that and playing some good soccer. And like I said, it's been great to be #1, and it's a goal that we have at the end of the season, but right now we got to focus on what we can do on the field.
Well, a lot of that success has been because of the offense. Virginia, one of the leading scoring teams in the country. What's been the key to that offensive explosion this season?
I think our team chemistry off the field and on the field is great this year. It's the best it's been since I've been at Virginia, and I think that's a big key to our success right now. And the offensive firepower we have right now is beyond what we've had since in the past 2 years, and I think that if we keep gelling like we can and playing together, it will get better.
Now, you're a veteran of the youth national team system, but this year you've gotten your first 2 caps with the full national team and scored your first international goal against Mexico earlier this month. What have you learned from your experiences with the full national team that you've been able to take back and try to use in your role here at Virginia?
Playing with some of the best players in the world with the full team has actually made me learn a lot, just from seeing how they take care of their body and seeing how they compete every day on the field. And I think if I can take that back to Virginia and just show them how they do it at the highest level, I think will help us in the long run. And obviously the easy things are the speed of play and the physicality and the bringing it every single day in practice. And I think if we do that every single day, we'll get to where we want to be at the end.
Well, the team's got 2 challenging games this week. go to Duke, a team that knocked you out of the NCAA tournament last year, and then a rematch with Maryland from the ACC championship game, game that we'll be able to be seen here on NSCAA TV. What are the keys to the 2 games you have going on this week?
The keys to those games are, like I said, focus every single game, take one game at a time, and like you said, Duke knocked us out last year in the NCAA tournament, so I think for us that's going to be in the front of our mind, and we got to go out and play like we have been in the past, and for us it's just to play good soccer and keep playing the way we are, and hopefully things will take care of itself.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Morgan. For NSCAA TV, I'm Steve Kirkland.
Thank you, Steve. And today's interviews with UVA women's superstar Morgan Bryan and all the other interviews on this program are presented by Shattuck St. Mary's, a college prep boarding school with a full-time residential soccer center of excellence for boys and girls and a member of the U.S. Soccer Development Academy. To learn more, visit www.s-sm.org. And what a great visit there with Morgan Bryan, having a fantastic season. Dean Linke now with Sari Rose, former goalkeeper at Wake Forest. Sari, delighted to be with you. And of course, Steve Swanson now has the Cavaliers at #1. It's a big ACC story because North Carolina loses again to Florida State, and what a shakeup.
Yeah, we talked about last week, once things get into conference play, it becomes a crazy, you don't know who's going to win, and I think we've seen a lot of that last week. Florida State's only one of 3 teams to beat Carolina 3 times in a row, and then you have Wake goes up and loses to Maryland, but Maryland loses to Virginia Tech, so it's crazy in the ACC right now.
Let's see how it shakes out as we take a look here at the top 10 for Women Division I, the Continental Tire NSCAA top 10.
We talked about the Cavaliers are the only top 25 team without a blemish on their record at 9-0. They had to come back from a 1-goal deficit against Greg Miller's Pittsburgh squad, but they rallied to win 3-1. They faced Duke on Thursday, and then there are featured match on NSCAA TV Sunday versus John Morgan and the Maryland Terrapins. At 2, Stanford still hangs on to the 2 spot despite a tough match against Santa Clara. Paul Radcliffe says his team has more depth this year than ever before, and that's an impressive statement given the success of his previous teams. And then we've got Davy Nolan and the Hoyas of Georgetown at number 10. I've doubted the strength of the new Big East, but they're going to have some tough teams, especially the Butler Bulldogs, who upset Michigan last week.
Steve Kirkland talked about it. Sari Rose talked about it. Now I'm going to talk about it. Sunday in Charlottesville, a big ACC matchup between Virginia and Maryland. You can see it right here on NSCAA TV. Rolling on here as we take a look at 11 through 20 Women Division I. Sari.
At 12, Baylor's off to its best start since Marcy Jobson took the helm. The Bears are the only unbeaten team left in the Big 12, and they've not conceded a goal yet at home. And then Texas Tech inches up to number 15 after another unbeaten weekend. The Red Raiders have now won 6 straight and have had 10 different players score for them. Last year's Big 12 Rookie of the Year, Janine Becky, is also off to an impressive start with 6 goals and 2 assists.
And your final 5 here for Women Division I.
At 24, Matt Mott's Ole Miss team is 8-1. The Rebels stopped an up-and-coming Razorback team and then donned teal uniforms on Sunday against Little Rock to raise awareness for ovarian cancer. Matt's got a good team this year, but he's got some tests coming up, especially with Becky Burley and the number 7th ranked Gators coming to town on this week.
All right, your Disney Soccer NSCAA Division I Player of the Week. What a great game Courtney Verlew had. She carried Stanford to a 3-2 double overtime victory over number 22 Santa Clara by scoring all 3 of the Cardinals' goals on set pieces. She got her 100th victory. She's now 101, 4-5 overall as a member of the Cardinals squad. And what a heartbreaker as Santa Clara with a penalty kick with less than a minute to go. Verlew answers with the penalty kick and then scores in double overtime. Let's roll on here now to Women Division II, and your number 1 team is Grand Valley State.
Yep, they're going to remain number 1 despite having to fend off Ohio Dominican 1-0 this weekend. And we've got a new number 2 with Western Washington, who is 5-0. The Vikings of Western Washington have only allowed 1 goal in those 5 games, and it was an own goal. Senior keeper Alyssa Bouchamp has a .917 save percentage, and she's never seen action prior to this season. And then we've got to look at Quincy, who jumps up to number 10 after being unranked previously. They're led by Jacqueline Mastroianni, who is the GLVC Conference Player of the Week, and I think we're going to hear more about her from you, Dean.
All right, indeed, as she is your Disney Soccer Division II NSCAA Women's Player of the Week. Mastroianni had a part in all 3 of her team's goals and the Lady Hawks win over number 18 UW Parkside before scoring the game winner in the 86th minute. Perfect segue from Sari Rose leading in to Jacqueline Mastroianni. Let's roll on here now and take a look at the Division III level as well. And your Division III Player of the Week is Michelle Lanier. She is a forward from Trinity by way of Albuquerque, New Mexico. She racked up 3 goals and 3 assists in 2 games for Trinity and helped them reach a record now of 7-0-1. Congratulations to Michelle Lanier as we look at the top 10 for Division III, and Wheaton still at number 1.
And the Wheaton Thunder topped number 3 WashU in a 1-0 battle over the weekend. The teams were in a virtual deadlock until senior Leah DeMoss launched a ball into the upper nines in the 8th minute of overtime to win for the Thunder. And then we also have to talk about number 9 Emory, who beat Birmingham Southern 2-0 on a pair of goals by senior Lauren Gorodeski. Gorodeski, who is a stalwart at center back for the Eagles and a 3-time All-American, was able to come up and connect on a cross and then a free kick to ensure the win. This was Emory's 2nd win in a row and lifts them up a spot this week.
How about at number 2, Johns Hopkins? They've had a player who was the NSCAA Player of the Week the last couple weeks, and they've got a big-time coach who's been there forever in Leo Will. And guess what? We caught up with both of them right here on NSCAA TV.
Hi, I'm Jim Hogan for NSCAA TV, reporting from the campus of Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland. Here with me today, I have women's head soccer coach Leah Weil and junior forward Hannah Kronick. Coach, we'll start with you. Your team was recently ranked number 2 nationally in women's Division III soccer. What is that like to achieve the school's highest ever ranking now in your 22nd season?
Well, I mean, I think it's a nice compliment to our team. I thought we should have been number 1 after beating teams that were ranked number 1 and number 5, but maybe it's a better position to be in than being number 1. So it's a great compliment to our program and to our players, and so we're really happy about it.
What sets Hannah apart from some of the others, maybe?
Lots of different things. I mean, she just has the perfect combination of hard work, determination, great athletic ability, and I think the thing that really sets her apart, other than her tremendous work ethic, is she just has a knack for being in the right place. She knows how to position herself. She's one of the 2 players that I've ever coached that I've had to tell that you're working a little bit too hard. You need to slow down a little bit.
Now moving over to Hannah. What's the feeling like within the team to start the season off 8-0?
Well, definitely very positive. It's very cool that we're ranked 2nd in the country and undefeated already. I think we have a very large team this year, so definitely the fact that everyone is buying into kind of the success that we're having is very important for us. You know, from the starters to people that are playing in not as many games. It's really important for us that everyone is committed to the same success, and I think so far the team chemistry has definitely proven that.
And there's been a lot of great teams here at Hopkins over the years and players. How do you feel this year's team fits into that tradition?
Yeah, there definitely has been a lot of great teams here. I mean, freshman year we were part of a team that went undefeated until the last game of the season, so I've kind of seen that and been a part of that tradition. And I think that this year's team has the same potential that we've had every year, but we have so much talent this year. And again, everyone buying into the same team goals because we have a 35-person roster is very important for us. And I think that everyone staying on the same page and being committed to the success is definitely going to help us out.
Yeah, I think another thing that makes this year's team different than a lot of our others is that it's a very resilient group. I think very strong mentally. In the past, sometimes when we got down, we stayed down. And this year's team, we've been down a few times this season and have been able to come back quickly, a lot of times thanks to Hannah. So I think that shows a lot of character. I've told them, enough of the character checks. I know that they have great character. We'd like to get on top right away and stay on top.
Well, thank you both again for being here today, and I wish you continued luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
For NSCAA TV, reporting from the campus of Johns Hopkins University, I'm Jim Hogan.
Good stuff from Johns Hopkins. Dean Linke back here with Sari Rose, and now time to roll to the junior college level. We start, Sari, with women junior college Division I in Paradise Valley Community College, 10-0-0.
Yeah, the Pumas pounded on Gateway Community College and scored 9 goals. The number 1 Pumas improved to 10-0, and they're led by sophomore Jordan Davidson, who has 17 goals and 7 assists for 41 points, while sophomore Jessica Horovich has 10 goals and 8 assists for 28 points. And then at number 4, Monroe College is 6-0 after a solid win against Hartford Community College. They are only one of 5 unbeaten teams in the top 20, and Coach Garber is now 18-0 in conference play. And they're also led by an Anna Rodriguez, who has 14 goals this year.
All right, we'll take a look now at Division III for junior college women.
The Cerritos College is our new number 1. The Falcons are 6-0 and have outscored opponents 22-3. Claudia Lopez has 7 goals and 3 assists to pace the team, and head coach Ruben Gonzalez has the week off to enjoy the number 1 ranking and prepare for conference play to start next week. And then at the bottom, number 9, we've got Chaffey College, who was unranked till now, but is the only other team in the top 10 without a blemish. The Panthers have 5 shutouts in 7 games and are getting fantastic minutes from sophomore Kiara Udeman in goal.
All right, good stuff. And we roll now to NAIA. Sari.
On Saturday, number 15 Cal State San Marcos visited number 16 the Masters in last week's only meeting of ranked teams. The Masters' Elvia Contreras ended a scoreless match with her first goal of the season and eventual game winner in the 76th minute.
Over the last 2 weeks, Spring Arbor head coach Jason Chris and Lindsey Wilson head coach Drew Burwash won their 200th match as Chris came in a 4-2 win over Concordia.
And then we've got Spring Hill leads all the teams with an unprecedented 67 goals. They've got 29 more goals than second-ranked Truett McConnell through 8 matches this season.
All right, good stuff here as now the women are in the books as well. And Dean Linke with Sari Rose. And Sari, just like with Charlie Slagle, another huge week. We talked about North Carolina with those 2 losses, but they'll be there as well. But really heating up at all levels.
Exactly. You know, the Pac-12 moving into play this week. You've got the SEC is starting to play games. We're going to see a number of great matchups coming up this week and next. And I think we're going to start to see things shuffle around a little bit more than we have the past few weeks.
All right, delighted to be with you, Sari. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week with Sari as well, right here, as we'll have another great program coming up next week. October 1st at 1 o'clock, another edition of the NSCAA Weekly College Highlights and Rankings Show. I want to thank all the SIDs for making it happen, from Rollins and also Larissa Wright out at UCSB. St. Louis did a great job. Johns Hopkins, everybody for making this show so much fun to do. And got to remind everybody as well, we got a lot of big games coming up this week. Of course, on Sunday, we've got Virginia and Maryland ACC women as we go backwards to forwards. And on Friday night, in front of what could be a record crowd, UC Santa Barbara and Stanford. They're expecting 15,000 plus. And then tonight, it's the Akron Zips and Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm catching a plane to Akron right after this show. I can't wait for that one. And why? Because they've got some of the best fans in the country, the AK-Rowdies.
I'm joined with Willie Coleman, Assistant Director of Alumni Relations for the University of Akron. Willie, you played an important role in the foundation of the AK-Rowdies. Can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I joined the University of Akron as a freshman in 2003, and through those years, Akron was just starting to go into a new era, if you will, with its athletic branding. And one thing that was significantly lacking on campus was this pride and spirit that the University of Akron, needed. And we're always looking for a blue and gold shirt, and you're usually finding a shirt from another school on campus. So the athletic department wanted to get its students a little more involved, and with the help of the athletic department and some other graduate assistants at the time in marketing, they put a group together called the AK-Rowdies, and we were approached by the incoming men's soccer coach, then head coach Caleb Porter, to really kind of create a soccer group, if you will. And that just took off. So we had the branding out there, we pushed it heavily in new student orientation, and it just took off. We went from 150 members in around 2006 to over 1,100 members in 2007.
The AK-Rowdies, Akron Zips, Ohio State Buckeyes can't wait tonight. The broadcast of the weekly college highlights and rankings show was presented by the National Soccer Coaches Association of America. The NSCAA works every day to inspire coaches and ignite their passion for the game, so they pass it on to players and others in the soccer community. That goal is fulfilled through 3 core values: learn, participate, belong. Visit nscaa.com for more information.